We're getting started here in just a second. Welcome everyone to your Photoshop class. Thank you to everyone who turned in drafts. I've composed a slideshow and I put them together by student. At the end of what I put together, if you didn't see one of your drafts included in the slideshow, please let me know and I can grab it real quick. That happens. The grade book, especially we're doing 3 assignments, the grade book can be tricky to navigate, or you could have turned it in after I got the slideshow done about 15 minutes ago. So if you turn anything in the next 15 minutes, you definitely need to let me know at the end. So tonight we're going to review the adbusters.org ad, the website homepage design, and the playbill design. And I've said it a million times because it's so true. Revision is very important. And you're going to give yourself feedback. You're going to do a design. You're going to walk away. You're going to sleep on it. You're going to come back. You're going to think about it and make critical decisions about it. And then other people are also going to give you feedback, and you're going to have to consider whether or not to accept it and actually go with it, or maybe not. Maybe you don't think it's the greatest feedback. So as a designer, it is your choice. You've got to think critically and adjust your design accordingly. And peer review is very important when you're learning graphic and web design, so that you can have experience communicating with clients and talking about your work. So both things are very important and good practices to start now. So these are the student guidelines for peer review. You're going to take in the design before you even make your first comment. You're going to explore the entire design thoroughly. You'll be clear with your feedback so that your peer knows what you're talking about. So you got to make sense. You got to give positive feedback, and you can point out the weaknesses too. Sometimes students are they're too negative or they're too positive. So you want to keep it constructive. So offer suggestions and not commands. Comments should be appropriate. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or be rude. No. You want to recognize your biases, and you're not here to turn a design into your design. You want to ask questions and maybe suggest options, but avoid turning the design into something that you did, right? It's not your design. You're just serving as a mirror and showing the designer how the draft looks to you. You're pointing out areas that need attention, areas that are working, and areas that need work. I also want you to be nice, be kind whenever possible. Spoiler alert, it's always possible in this classroom, so just be kind. Let's do a really basic review of the 4 basic design principles. You'll study these more in depth in Graphic Design 1 if you are a graphic or web design major, but let's do a quick overview, I should say, of these principles. It might help you give more constructive feedback, and it also might help you make some decisions about your designs. So the 4 basic design principles are contrast, repetition, proximity, and alignment. And the purpose of contrast is to differentiate similar elements from each other. If 2 elements are not exactly the same, you need to make them different. The principle of repetition states that you repeat some aspects of the design throughout the entire artwork to create cohesion and organization. The principle of proximity states that you group elements together that are related to each other. And then alignment, according to that principle, nothing should be placed arbitrarily on the page. Everything should have a connection with some other items. There's different ways to apply each of these principles. Let me get a drink. Excuse me. Let me let somebody in. Okay. There are different ways to apply each of these principles. So let's look at some examples. Here we see the principle of contrast. And I like these examples in particular, excuse me, because they show different applications of contrast. So here we have contrast in size. Here we have contrasting shapes. Here we see contrast in typography. Very nice layout. And here we see it in color. So blue and orange are contrasting colors. Wonderful examples. I'm sorry, I'm a mess today. Here is the example of repetition, the principle of repetition. And we see repetition used across different documents. So these books, and even in multi-page documents. Here's repetition of branding across business cards. Thank you for the cough drop, folks. Here we see repetition of fonts, logos, colors. You can just see it adds organization to the page. Here we see the repetition of numbers, the 1, 2, 3, the same text treatment, the repetition of the lines to give structure, the repetition of fonts to guide you through the page. Here we see some different alignment. Here's a centered aligned text that's been included in a group of elements that are actually left aligned on the page. Here we see left aligned text and some more left aligned text. And you can see how different things. So when we think about alignment, we think about topography, of course, but you also align different things and elements on the actual page as well. And then here we see some examples of proximity. If things belong together, conceptually, they belong together on the page. So like, here's all the graphics there together. This information is the name of the dish, more information. Up here is the logo and the name of the restaurant. We've got our little teasers down at the bottom in this example. Everything that belongs together is together. So before we begin the peer review, I want you to think about the big picture. Is the purpose of the design clear? I want you to think about the design. Is the design effective? Is it too busy or too simple? Think about the organization. How is the design organized? Is it organized effectively? Think about the content. Are the fonts and colors working together? Is the text easy to read? And are there any errors? So again, I'm going to go through the designs that are in my slideshow. If I miss something that you turned in, at the end of the slideshow, let me know. And I will add it and we'll go over it. I'll at least pull it up so you can get your feedback. I will ask you to talk about your work when we get to it. So Dory is not here, but here's Dory's work. Here is Dory's ad. Water tastes like nothing, smells like nothing. Here's Dory's website, a portfolio site. And here we see Dory's playbill. Now, if we get enough feedback tonight, we will not have to do a written feedback. So please participate and let me know and let Dory know when she watches this video what you think of her work. And then after you're done with your feedback, I will share my thoughts.
Well, I was gonna say I really like the playbill a lot. I think it's really cool. I like the just the white and black contrast, to each other. I really think that's cool. And the ad looks really good too. I think it's really cool.
Very
Looks very
professional.
very realistic.
Yeah, I agree.
So I noticed this as I looked at it. I get the type of I guess aesthetic they're trying to go for with the text, but it is honestly, in my view, kind of hard to see when you're trying to look at it. But other than that, everything else looks pretty good.
I had that thought too. I thought you had to use the context clues to really be able to decipher that text.
Hmm.
Um, I like all the ones that she made, but I think my only critique would be like the empty space between the pictures and like on the water one. I would like get rid of the white box and just have like the water like bigger, like behind the text, just to give it
Yes.
more like a modern look. But other than that, I like all these.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. The white bounding box around the water is distracting. And I like this design for one of the reasons because of the pink and blue gradient, and you kind of see it in the water bottle. So I think it would look cool without the bounding, without the white box.
Yeah.
I agree. Oh wait, there we go. Now it's working. I agree. Uh, and it's not some meteor thing. The white background also kind of looks like it's kind of like taken from Google, like straight out or stripped from Google a little bit. And some people might try to call you out on that.
Right, yeah. It doesn't make it look as polished and professional, and then it kind of makes it look illegitimate, right? Any other feedback on maybe the website? We've heard about the playbill and the water, but what about the website?
Um, I like it, but it's hard to like articulate what my critique is with it, I guess. It doesn't really feel like a website. Like there's no like links or things to click on.
Well, I think these are the buttons here,
Okay. Well, that makes
but
sense.
I think maybe you're hitting on the fact that the contrast is so low that it's hard to really see what these
Yeah,
are. Okay.
yeah. But other than that, I think it's really good.
Some nice images used.
I have a suggestion. Uh, so I had noticed there's not like any way for contact information if someone ever wanted to contact you in case of emergency or they needed to like need something created if you were trying to go for that,
Yeah.
or maybe just something like another website page, like Instagram or something.
Right. Or about, and there's definitely space. You could do a contact me or about button. Great point. Okay, let me share my thoughts before we move on to the next person, who will be Tyson. So, again, I agree, remove the white background, and it's a little low contrast over the pink when we're looking at this text. So really watch your contrast. Maybe this text is has an outline or a drop shadow or something that just helps it stand out from that light pink. Water stands out nice and good. And I like the font that you've chosen. It's kind of like a watery font, which is fun. And I think it's funny. I love water, but it does taste like nothing and it smells like nothing. So, I mean, the good stuff does. The website is a really good start. I like how you're thinking modular, like a module design. I can see you putting your things into grid, but still kind of watch how your elements are lining up. And like, the home button should line up with the top of these images that line up nicely too. And this should line up nicely as well if you're going to go with this modular design. Make sure everything's lining up. And maybe instead of these look like stock images that you've used, I know you have original pieces that you could put in here, whether they're photos or designs or the things that you've made throughout the semester, right? So I would encourage you to use original work. And then again, watch that contrast. The text is kind of hard to read with when you've got a dark text on a dark background. I do love your use of gradients, by the way, in both of these first two pieces. I think gradients add depth and interest to the design. Now I can go both ways on the Beetlejuice text because I thought, wow, this is interesting. And there were enough context clues for me to put it together on what it was. But again, I had to figure it out, right? So you want to kind of be careful and think about that. Although there's something about it that I do like. I like the stripes, the black and white contrast. I would adjust your leading on this 2 lines of text, just tighten it up a little bit. Right now, they kind of look separate from one another and it's one quote. Again, you've used gradients, which I enjoy. The ad looks polished and professional. So thank you for sharing, Dory. Okay, Tyson, take it away. Tell us about your designs. I believe you've turned in 2 of them.
I had a third one as well, not this one, but this one was
Wait, let me go back.
ooh.
Sorry. Did you turn the 3rd one in later?
Yes, I
Okay,
think
so
about an hour before.
we'll come back to it at the end. Just remind me. Okay.
So for this one, I actually asked my brother, "Hey, you have any ideas for me?" And he said Grubway, because it's like Subway, but it's actual food. Not that they're not actual sandwiches, but they have turkey, and so I decided, hey, why not Grubway? It makes more sense. It's kind of funny because it's like Grubhub and Subway.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea.
It's also a pretty quick design, so there's a bit of flaws there, as I'm sure you guys can see. So with this one, I was actually going for how like I have my own Gary's Mod server and stuff like that. I put in some stuff there and some contact information, and then I decided to slip in my commission sheet for stuff I could do, on the side when I'm trying to make extra money or so. And I put some of my old work in there as well.
Okay. Thank you, Tyson. Feedback for Tyson.
I like the ad. Really, the only critique I would have on the ad was like, I guess just like the sandwiches being like cut off, but maybe that was like a style choice or like a design choice. So there's nothing really wrong with that. And then I really, really like the website because it reminds me of like Spotify on the left, and then on the right it kind of carries over to that, like the about me, and then like the line under it and the fonts that you used. I really like that. I think it's really cool. And especially like with the gradient on like the background, I think it looks really cool.
Thank you.
On the first one, I maybe it was just me, but I found the word way like it was a little bit too dark. Or like I don't know, it just didn't stand out quite enough, I don't think. Um
I agree. That's way low contrast.
I had
Yeah,
something else to say, but I forgot it. So we're just
Oh, I'm
gonna
sorry.
Nope, it's not you. It's not you.
it's a little hard to see. I didn't really know what much to do about that. I was like, should I make it lighter? But if I make it lighter, it's hard to see. It was a kind of a complicated situation.
You could put a white stroke around your letters and they
True.
pop out. And it would add a little interest to the design too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it'd be like a logo. You could have a nice white stroke just around the word way. I think that'd fix that up. Any other thoughts for Tyson? Thank you all for giving feedback. You can also put feedback in the chat if you want to. And I'll read it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Leo.
I was just gonna say I really like the I mean I do agree with like you and Gio. I think the contrast on the grub way, the way part is a little rough, but I really like the the font that she used, and all that stuff, and I just like the way that looks a lot. And I really like the way that the ad looks. It looks very like professional. And I agree with Nick. It's like, it looks like Spotify on the left, which is cool.
On the
And I think
website.
there's
Okay.
like, yeah, very good like, fonts and everything used, and looks very like clean and neat. So yeah, really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. Yeah. Okay. Your cutoff sandwich would be a cool opportunity to use Photoshop AI and see if it would fill in the sandwich. I know I used it to open someone's eyes the other day in a photo. So
Believe it or not, that glitter is actually Photoshop AI generative fill.
the sprinkles.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Webb, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say, like the sandwich paper, when you mentioned the AI, I would imagine it just suddenly make the sandwich bigger for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it could. Another thing you could do is like make this like a bite, with like little teeth marks out of it. Just
Yeah.
so those rough, those are the straight lines really do detract, I think, from the design. And then
Mhm.
again, add that white stripe, or the white stroke around the way, and it would pop out, and I think it would give you that contrast that you need. And I was going to comment on the sprinkles, how I thought that was a nice touch. For your website, I would say the same thing that I said to Dory. Kind of watch how everything's lining up. I would maybe not center this text and just put it all on one line. Then you eliminate this. You've got a lot of leading, so you have a large leading between the letters. And then to me, they don't feel like they belong together because they're not close. So
Yeah.
just put that on one line. Watch again how every little thing is like lining up. And I like the use of the hamburger menu. So nice use there. And like this is really close to the edge.
Yeah.
I think the gradients are fun. I love that you're using your own work. This here could be way bigger because it's
I was trying to fit that in, but it kind of was like bulky and just kind of took your view immediately to that first thing.
right. Or you could make an elongated version of the logo that
True.
would fit really nicely in this space right here. But it's fun. I like the personality. I like the original art and graphic design that you've made. The gradient is fun. So would the wood actually be on the website? Like at the top and bottom?
Well, it depends on people's monitors. If they're too small or if they're on a phone, most likely not. But if it's a big monitor, then yes.
I think that's a kind of cool, quirky contrast between the gradient and the wood. So, yeah. And then, right, that helps you with your resolution and your ratio depending on screen size.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Tyson.
Of course.
Okay, next we have Liam. Liam, tell us about your work. This made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, this is pretty stupid, but no, this is just I was just trying to come up with something, clever and dumb, and yeah, I just thought it was like, I've seen like, perfume ads or like cologne ads, and I just thought they were, a little cheesy in that kind of way, so I just decided to do some random flavor, so that's all it really was. Not too much of that one.
Very, very nice.
The website, honestly, the inspiration behind it was I used to have my own lawn business, so I just kind of tried to like make something that I would, imagine like me making, if I were to really do it. Really make an actual website. So that's really all that really was. And this is like the services page, like it's on the services page. So yeah, I don't know, not really too much to this one either, just kind of, you know, basic website. And then yeah, the playbill, I'm not really like super thrilled about how it turned out. It was a little rushed for sure and a little basic, and I kind of messed up some things like with the lining, and that sort of thing, and a little lacking, but just kind of a rough draft. So that's really all that was. But yeah, not really too much to it.
Okay, thank you, Liam. Any feedback
Yeah.
for Liam before I share my thoughts? Let me know if you want me to go to a particular design.
Yeah, that one that you're on. Oh,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, that one. Uh, so Liam, was the hat made by you or did you find that?
Yeah, I made it.
Okay. So a suggestion that I would say put on there just to give it a little extra detail to kind of put your eye on there is maybe give it a little shine. You know how some top hats kind of have like a shine on them because they're like, I think like some kind of fabric that has some shine to it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that would be a cool little thing you could add there. And for your background where it says where the paper bag is there, maybe like have like some city in the background or something. Make it a
Yeah,
little like for like maybe a little town or something, you know? Just give it a little
yeah,
pop.
for sure. Thank you.
I like the ad like with the cologne. I just think it's funny, and then it's just simple. No critiques about that. And then the website is really impressive. I like all like the detail with the address and the phone number and like the buttons and the like the layers and the contrast with it that you can read everything like super clearly. And then the logo on the top being big and bold. So I like that. And then the playbill, just a simple playbill side. I like that too. No critiques there.
Thank you, Nick.
To the website. The only thing I would say, like everything looks really good. The only thing I would say is the social media icons. They almost line up with the contact button perfectly, but not quite. So maybe if you increase the space between them a little bit or made them a little bit bigger, then that would line up perfectly. Whereas right now the Facebook icon is a little bit off to the side. And I just think that would, yeah, so that's the only thing I got.
Thank you. We've got feedback on all three pieces. Anybody else have anything to say? Remember, you can put it in the chat. Your mic don't work or you're feeling shy. Okay. This, like I said, made me laugh out loud. There is a white background you could remove from the hot dog, which I would actually do. And remember, anything that you all create can be entered in the student art show. We'll be doing a call for entries really soon. So you want to polish these designs up and make them look really nice. But I could see kind of the difference between the white background of the bottle and the white background of the hot dog. And you could just use select subject and delete that, select inverse and delete that background. And then it'd all be nice and white and you wouldn't kind of see a line right there. Because I do think this is like a very, very funny, very good ad. Your website looks great too. I really liked Gio's suggestion to kind of the spacing between these icons kind of line up with this perfectly and then bump them up just a little bit to give them some white space between here and there. But that's literally the only critique. I think this is really cool, especially if it's the first time you've ever thought about website design, for a first draft. It's very strong. So awesome work there, Liam. And then your playbill, I love your text treatment. You have this like 3D text with a Christmas Carol. You could render and rotate that hat as well and would probably give you the shine that I think Tyson recommended. So if you use the 3D panel, you could actually 3D that hat, maybe add a red band around it and tilt it a little bit one way, and then maybe it gives like a little interest. I like the idea of the background. You could maybe use holly, or I don't know. I love the Christmas Carol movie with Bill Murray. So that's what comes to mind. But you could use some iconography from, it's called Scrooged, by the way, but you could use some iconography from the movie or from the play or from the story that kind of, again, is a nod to the actual production. Okay, Lucas is not here. Lucas turned in his ad. Let's check it out. Gulfstream, the all-new Sky Sweeper EcoJet. So now with revolutionary CO2 capturing technology. Lucas, can you please invent this? It says jet responsibly while you pander in style. So pretty funny. What do we think about Lucas's design?
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I laughed when I saw
Just
that.
just imagine the jet flying by and those bags just fill up to the brim. All you hear is a loud pop.
Or they fall on your head.
You just look up, it's like, what is that?
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought this was actually very funny when I first saw it. It's honestly looks really good, and I don't really see much to do with it. But I mean, maybe your text could be like pop a little bit more. But really, there's a lot that's going good on here, so I don't really know what to say.
I was gonna say nice attention to detail with how the paper bags are placed, or the trash bags.
Mm-hmm. There's a balance, and Lucas is effectively using alignment with the left aligned text. I really like it. I would maybe bump this over here to align with that text as well. Fun kind of gradient, like the bag's like got a halo, a gradient halo around it. I think it's kind of fun. This bottom text is a little hard to read. I'm not sure if there's a text treatment on it, but some of the strokes are really thin. So like the stroke here on the Y and the curved part of the jet and the E. So if you can bold the font or somehow up the contrast, I think that would help. Other than that, great design. Love the use of gradients. Great cutout of your subject. Great Photoshop abilities, adding those bags to the jets on the jet. And a good critique of, climate change and consumption. So good job, Lucas. Gio, please tell us about your design.
Okay, so first of all, I don't like any of the text or the background at all, but I wanted to do something because originally I was just gonna have it be the can, and then I was like, wait, I don't want to do that because I wanted to have text, but I couldn't really decide what to do with it, but I wanted to give you something to to use, so I did that, and I'm sorry, but I think that um for the top, this is completely based off an inside joke between me and my friends. But I think for the top, like if I made like a little banner for that and then kind of probably just had to change some of the context, some of the contents of the text to make them more balanced. And I would probably keep the bottom as is, but I would mess around with the placement and like changing what the background is and stuff. So that's my critique of myself.
Yeah, thank you. And I have thoughts too, but I think it's a very funny concept. It's witty. But before I share thoughts, let's get some feedback from everyone else.
So, when I looked at the can, I immediately noticed that little bottom strip there. Good idea. It's a very good idea, and I think it would really look nice on an actual soda can. But that color does seem very flat, and I also noticed there's lightning still kind of going into the blue. And I might actually, with some people with OCD, that might tip them off a little bit. But besides the flat colors, you already said you don't like the background, so you already knew that. In the text at the bottom, it could be kind of hard to see.
That's the point.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I thought that was part of the
Oh
joke.
wait, yeah, I just realized.
But valid. Maybe you could use a different sans serif font. Might be easier to read at that size.
I kind of didn't want it to be easy to read. Like that was like the one part of like all of this text and background madness that was intentional, was making that so small you have to kind of squint to read it because that's how it always really is.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought that was funny. I thought the text was really funny. The text treatment could use some work, but the content.
I know. I
But-
just wanted to do something. I was originally gonna do a front and back of the can, and then have the text on the back. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
And that would be one approach.
because I don't really want so many words around it because I feel like that's distracting. So that's why I was gonna do a front and back.
I was going to suggest like making the can bigger and kind of setting it off to one side and then having your text along the other side of it
Yeah.
to kind of, because right now it's so asymmetrical. If you did that, it would add interest. Your can could be kind of right here. You could still have big, bold text. I thought the concept was really funny. So if you haven't read it, like you could either drink the the soda to stay awake, or your friend can bash you in the head with it and you'll sleep
Or you
forever.
or
So
it's 900 milligrams of caffeine. So if you drink all of it, you can go permanently to sleep because
there,
of
okay, so
the
it works
cardiac
two
arrest.
ways. Yes, you can. It's serious. You can overdose on caffeine. So this is a friendly reminder. I love the sleep logo on the can. I think that's super fun. I do think this bottom text could, you have it like going kind of bent up, or it could be an optical illusion.
Nope.
Yeah, it looks like it, but you could bend it down if you wanted to do like a little text on a curve, if you wanted.
Yeah.
And then I think it wouldn't be, it wouldn't feel as flat either, but
Okay. And yeah, and I think I'll do a front and back. The main point was just like the can of sleep, and I
yeah, I
wanted
love
to.
your text treatment on the can, the actual sleep with the lightning. It looks really cool, and I think the concept's very funny.
Right.
Okay. And it's very pertinent to everyone who, as in America, is consuming caffeine. Almost everyone. So I would imagine we're coffee loving people, probably globally. So okay, Bailey told me they were unable to make it tonight, but here we see Shamway Foods, the #1 maker of meat-like products, and we see Sham. I can't believe it's not meat. Wow. And this is, if you've seen, because Bailey did explain this to me, if you've seen the Sham Wow commercials, this is a play on that as well. So any thoughts?
So when I looked at this the can of Sham, I noticed the sides of it. I don't know if that was intentional, but it also looks very blurry. You can't really like see any much detail on it. The background I think was intentional because it was supposed to like kind of give that uh old kind of vibes, but it looks good. I honestly think it's pretty cool and kind of what's it called? I'm trying to think of the word. It's smart,
Clever.
clever. Yes.
Yes. Instead of spam, it's sham. Any other thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, I really like the just the lettering and the contrast, the yellow and blue. I think it really works, super well together with the actual. I mean, I know that's what they were going for, but it just works really well. I really like the
I
wow
like
too
the
in the
color
bottom.
palette too.
For sure, yeah. And I do agree with Tyson. I think it's a little blurry, but I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. It's probably a picture from the web. So I mean, really no complaints. Honestly, looks really good.
Yeah, you could try to sharpen this up a little bit. I wonder how she created this, because she probably had to put sham on the can. So it just makes me, there might be a way to sharpen it up. But yeah, good question. Everything is so centered, and then we have wow over here, and then kind of this blank space. That's my only, like, how can we rethink the alignment of everything in this kind of weird space here? Other than that, I too like the blue and yellow. Blue and yellow is a very striking color palette. It gets your attention. I think it's funny. You've got I can't believe it's not butter reference, the spam reference, the sham reference, and the #1 maker of meat-like products. So that's pretty fun. Thank you, Bailey. Webb, tell us about your ad, and then you also turned in a website.
So I had to come up with something, and I thought to myself, you know what? What's the dumbest idea I could think of? And I thought, how about just flying sharks that like to steal your food? So this ad is acting like the shark. It's like, hey, don't worry, your food is safe with us. When no, it ain't.
Okay, and tell us about your website.
The website. I decided to go with the Popular Club just because I really like dogs, and those three dogs you're seeing right there, those are actually my dogs.
And
The-
did you take the photos?
yes, I had to import the photos to make them work, and yeah,
But is this your dog too?
that that one is not mine, but I got it from Adobe stock.
It fits so
t-
nicely there.
I wanted to try to add like sunglasses to make that work, but every time I tried it, I either got a fake PNG or some glasses that just do not work. So I just ditched the idea.
Again, you could use AI. You would just draw the little box and say generate sunglasses.
I wanted to, but then I didn't want to feel cheap. You know what I'm saying?
It's a tool that you can use.
I
Just that
figured
you would
like
just tell us that you used it, right? You wouldn't
Yeah.
say I made these glasses myself pixel by pixel. As
Mm,
long as you're
yeah.
honest about the process, there's nothing
Yeah.
cool about it.
I don't know why. I just thought to myself, if I used AI, it would just be a little bit of a cheap move. So, and
I give
yeah.
you permission.
All right. I'll
Especially like
I'll remember
it's not like
that
you're
for future
generating, it's not like you're typing entire website and then the AI is making the whole site for you, right? You're curating the pieces to put the site together. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get you.
just a thought, just a thought.
Yeah, the three dogs to my right. One of them is currently staring at me, wondering what that is. The bottom one, I'm a little sad. I decided because she passed away
Oh,
last year, so I kind of thought I might as well pay homage to my dog.
she's still a top dog.
She's been there for 3/4 of my life.
Aw. I had a dog that I got when I was like 4 and he lived until I was 18. So I know how you feel. Any feedback for Webb?
I have to point out. So I noticed your Twitter logo. It looks like it's the app
Yeah.
icon, but it's kind of like cut off around the sides.
I tried to properly cut it out, but I just have to work a little harder on that just to get a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, everything else looks really good. I don't know if you intentionally did the alignment
The
or not.
alignment.
Yeah, where right next to the where it says my name is what, and then the top dogs borders on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, everything's lining up nicely. This is center alignment. You have your images centrally aligned. You could think of maybe having them all be the same shape, but it doesn't bother me too much.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say I really like the website a lot. I think it looks really good. I really like the way that you know put a line underneath the click here and everything. I think it looks like a real, like really clickable links, and it
Yeah.
looks legit.
Some
And
of the some of the little details that I pay attention to.
for sure, yeah, it looks really good. And yeah, I think it's cool that you put in your own animals and really original ideas. So I really like it. Looks really good.
Thank you.
The Popular Club. I had to say it out loud when I first saw it. It is pretty cute. Okay, so I think
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
gonna be
funny.
honest.
I love the touch of the picnic basket.
Mhm.
What were you gonna say?
The shark one is not really good. I will admit that.
I think it's kind of funny. I think it's more of a social, you call it silly and dumb, but I think it's more of a social critique than maybe you realize. So to me, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Uh I think it's funny. I watched you work on it. You cut out your pieces and you put them together, and I almost like how this is shaped like the shark too.
Kind of
I just think it's interesting.
like an aerodynamic thing going around the shark.
Right, like he's not in water, but still things are kind of, the text is behaving like he is, which is kind of fun.
And then just a little dumb detail with the shark. If you look at like near the top of its head, the sun is kind of reflecting off its head.
Yep. You got a little solar flare going there. Very nice. And your website, I think it is so cute. It made me smile. I love that you used original photos. A couple of critiques, I would remove the text here. You don't need it. It's already great big up here. And this cute little boy fits
Well-
perfect in the circle.
Well, then again, that's like the logos. Say like,
But you could have different versions of your logo.
Say if you saw it in on a billboard sign, it's like, that's just part of the logo.
Right, but
It's-
you can have different versions of your logo. So yeah, for the billboard where it can be ran great big and the text can be huge, it would work. But here the text is really small, and you could just either enlarge it or put it under
Yeah.
it in white or something, but you already have it here. So you could have different versions of your logo. I just think here it has to be ran so small, like that it's kind of tough to read. I love the idea. You have your responsive links. So like this is responding to me clicking or hovering over it. I think that's cool. Watch putting like I'm not getting eye strain from the orange on the black here, because maybe I think it's the orange is not as saturated or something, but watch eye strain when you're pairing your font on top of dark colors. I think it works here, but it can go bad. It can go wrong.
All right.
Okay, now I know Tyson has a design, and I think Nick also has a design. So let's pull them up. But I gotta get them first. So
Yeah, I just have the website.
okay, Nick, you have the website? Okay, let's look. This is Adbusters. Here's a website. I just have to reopen it. Okay. Okay, I see it now. It wasn't pulling up, but it just did. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen again. Zoom, where'd you go? There you are. Screen. Okay, Nick, tell us about your website.
So I kind of threw this together like last minute, like an hour ago, but I went for like it's vacation.com. So I went for like travel.com type thing. And then I just like made sure to focus on like contrast, except for maybe the part that's on the actual like picture. That might be a little bit hard to read, but other than that, I just got all my stuff from like Adobe stock and then just put it all together. And I used like a bunch of gradients to give it like color and make it like pop. But that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Feedback for Nick.
You already mentioned it, but yeah, the bottom text, whereas this is only a few clicks away, that is a little bit harder to read, especially far away. But yeah, everything else looks really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say this looks great. I mean, I really like your use of the gradients, and everything. I think your fonts are really good and really clean and look, very well. And I mean, for this being last minute, like you said, I mean, it looks amazing. And I mean, I do agree. I think the lettering on the bottom is a little hard to see, but I mean, I don't think that's hard to fix at all or really bad. So honestly, it looks really good.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Nick, this is really great draft of a website. I love your use of color. It's interesting. It has depth. You've used gradients. It's very simple, but it has a great design elements and aspects. There's depth from the shapes that you're using. There's contrast with the blue and orange. So you chose your colors wisely. You have this beautiful image. Same feedback. The text is a little hard to read. It's tricky putting a gradient in a text anyway. It kind of works. It works better here because it's against, a colored gradient background. But over the photo, you might have to go with maybe some more color blocking down here. With maybe this gradient could come right down here, but again, I'd have to see what that looks like and how your picture fits. Love the incorporation of these little designs and shapes. It feels modern and fun, and it makes me want to go hang out on the beach, which I think that's what it's supposed to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, now, thanks for sharing, Nick. Now I know Tyson has a playbill, so let me dig that up. And then if anybody else has turned anything in that I have not shown, please let me know. Okay, I've got to download it and then I'll open it in Photoshop and we'll have a look. And I do have Photoshop open, so we shouldn't have to wait. There we go. Okay, Tyson, tell us about your playbill.
Okay, so the idea I went for the playbill was something based off of Halo, and the products haven't been really mentioned in a very long time, so I decided to do something that's like classic, and that was the Prophet's Hand and the energy source for the elites and all that. And then on the other side, I just went something really quick because I was running out of time, so I did Monster Energy.
So explain to me what the Prophet's Hand is again.
So it's based off the elites from Halo, this alien species that would work for their leaders that guide them into a false kind of conquest that would destroy the universe. But this would be like their right hand, pretty much. Their main people.
Okay.
Might be a movie or story about it.
Okay. Any feedback for Tyson
It's
on the Prophet's Hand playbill?
it's pretty good. If the hand was maybe like an elite hand, I don't know how you could pull it off, but that would be a little nice attention to detail. But I mean, it's still good.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I was just gonna say I really like this. I mean the only critique I would have is I think the aligning of it all is a little rough in some spots, but I think that's an easy fix. And I really like your use of the Halo logo and everything, and looks really good. And I think I like the way that the monster cans are all moved around and flipped and everything, and just looks really good. I like it.
Thank you.
I like your playbill and your little ad. I think I love Halo. So it's one of my favorite games, so I think it's really cool to like put that in there with like the energy sword and stuff. And then I like the gradient, so where it's kind of like it looks like natural for where the hand's coming from. And then I like your ad. The only thing I would say about the ad is like the contrast between the green and the font. But
Yeah,
at the bottom though, it like the zero sugar pops out really well.
I think
So
what I could have did with the text as well is like maybe put like the overlay or whatever it is, the outline on it.
yeah,
You know what I
and you
mean?
can also just I literally just learned how to do this, but you can also like copy and paste it and then just move it like 1 pixel to like the right and have it as like white or like a lighter green
Mhm.
to make it like pop out more and look like 3D without being 3D.
Yeah,
Okay.
or apply a stroke. I
Yeah.
wonder what it would look like if you like brought it up here and kind of tilted it, but and fit it right in this space, but or maybe it could go, Monster Energy or something. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
I think you chose your gradient wisely because it goes really well with the yellow. I would mask off this part of this emblem so the hand, so we can see the gradient in the finger right here. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I think that would give like a cool effect, like it would add depth to the design, and it would be really easy for you to just mask that part, that little part off of the emblem.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, watch the text because right here it is getting really hard to read. Maybe it's black and it's up here in the yellow or something. Or you could, work with a stroke or something like that. But that it's a great first draft. Watch your fold. I kind of like the touch of these lines here, but make sure everything's on the front is on the front and everything on the back's on the back.
Yep.
Okay, am I missing any designs that somebody turned in but we didn't get to? Okay, remember next week, we're going to review your movie posters and your DVD or Blu-ray cover. So make sure you have those turned in before the next class. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll skip the written review and I'll see you next Monday at 6:30.
Have a good night.
You too.
Have a good
Take
night.
care, Louise.
You too.